Again, it is now 6:15 in the evening. I'd like to call to order the Committee of the Whole Finance, Enterprise, Parking, Recreation, Public Safety, Utility Committee meeting. We are now here at 790 Homestead Boulevard. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Maldonado. He went to get coffee. Councilman Shelly.
Here.
Councilwoman Wallman. Here. Councilman Williams.
Here.
Vice Mayor Burgess.
Here.
Mayor Bateman.
Here. First item on the agenda is, is additions, deletions, and deferrals, and there is one addition. A motion to bring that on. It's a very minor item. Thank you. Second.
Second.
Can we go ahead and move on that now? Is that all right, everybody?
Yes, you're fine.
Okay, what it is the chair of that, Councilwoman Patricia Fairclough McCormick, is asking to include 8th graders to a 2-year term. I guess currently that 8th graders have a 1-year term.
Right now, they're not included.
They're not included at all right now, is that it? Okay, they're not included at all.
Terms are 1 year, where she would like to expand them to 2 years. 2 years.
Okay, 8th graders involved in 2-year terms.
I'll move it.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, item carries. Is that something I have to open because it's an actual change to the ordinance? Do I need? We can do roll call, but I mean we can do.
This is really just to move it to the consent. So
okay.
we submitted an action report for the council to move it to the consent. So I'm assuming that vote did that. So I think we're okay. Okay,
that's good. Yeah. I assume because it was outlined like it was supposed to be open to the public. No public. Okay, Children's Trust, Family Violence Service Partnership Grant.
I'll move it.
Okay, second. Thank you. Staff?
Mayor, it's staff's recommendation that Mayor and Council approve the attached contractual agreement and resolution authorizing the city manager to enter an agreement with the Children's Trust in order to provide family-based intervention services for families exposed to violence, domestic violence, stalking, and sexual assault.
Okay, discussions and comments from council?
Yes. Question this to the city manager. This is a discussion item. So what are we discussing? You just want to know what?
This would be to move it to
Yeah, what are we discussing?
Mr. Manager, yeah, we were a little bit confused on why it was a discussion item as well. We thought it was going to be a car to go forward on the.
I don't know why I put up this discussion, but I think the intent is to get action at the next council meeting, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Correct. So it would be to move it to consent.
Oh, okay. Well then.
Some motion to move it. Right?
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Item carries. To move it forward. Tab 2, F4 jet plane on US 1 and south of 304th Street. Staff report.
This one is a discussion item, and staff requests direction regarding the recommendations from the Military Affairs Committee to transport the F4 jet plane on US 1 south of 304th Street for maintenance. The Redland Construction Company will donate their services at no cost to tow the F4 jet plane on US 1 to and from the Homestead Air Base, where it will receive maintenance. George's Crane quotes a discount price of $800 to load and offload the F4 jet plane at both locations. Military Affairs Committee has agreed to pay the $800 crane services. The reason this is on the agenda is because people are donating their services, so we'd like to come to you first to make sure you're comfortable with it.
Comfortable with the people who donating the services?
Comfortable with the donation.
Oh, okay.
Question, Mayor.
Yes.
Obviously, we're going to have some police escorting our road closures here. Is that something that
Police
that they would be able to give us with the reservists or anything, or?
Yeah, Vice Mayor, we have already talked with our traffic units about the initial contact on it and the date of closing down 304 and also 11th Street, 308 Street. We'll be there in a minute. And then moving the jet back to the base with the military's plan of operations. So yes, your reserves will be used along with the traffic units, and we'll coordinate that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tab 3. This is a discussion item here. The scheduled service of bulky trash and recycle collection. Who wants to start that off? Staff?
Julio, want to just give a brief overview?
Staff seeks direction from Mayor and Council to amend service frequency schedule for bulk trash and recycling collection from bi-monthly to weekly in order to provide better service to the residents. This change allows residents to take advantage of more frequent pickups. This also includes extended operating hours at the city's facilities located in 6th Avenue to provide for dumpsters for resident drop-off 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. The additional cost for these services is approximately $600,000 a year. Back in 2010, the pickup frequency for bulk and recycling services for the city residential customers was changed from a weekly to a bi-monthly schedule. The proposed weekly schedule for bulk and recycling pickup will offer a full cycle of solid waste services to each resident each week, thereby providing an increased level of service for city residents. For bulk trash services, the schedule will alternate days between early week and end of week pickup in order to offer all residents the benefits of having early week pickups at least every other week.
Question?
Yes.
Will additional persons needed to be hired in order to...
Correct, yeah, we need to, the $600,000 includes one field supervisor, one recycling public service worker, which will be driving the recycling truck, and a bulk trash crew, which consists of a foreman and 2 public service workers.
So these are new people that have to be hired, or...
Yes, these are new people that have to be hired, yes.
And so in the $600,000, that includes all personnel costs and what else?
Correct.
What's
It
the
includes-
breakdown of the $600,000?
Yeah, it includes all personnel.
I got you.
It includes uniforms. It also includes the advertising, the educational packages that we're going to send to the residents, telling them of this new schedule, and all operating costs, including gasoline, use of equipment, etc.
No follow-up question, Mayor?
Yes, please.
You said back in 2010, you said that, wasn't before then they tried to go to once a month, then we have once a month?
It was every week. Bulk was every week, yeah. Recycling and bulk pickup was every week back then.
Okay.
Vice Mayor Burgess.
Thank you. Mayor, I think this was put on as I brought a question to the city manager in one of my meetings, and I appreciate Julio doing the work. Julio, you told me that the monies were there for this.
Correct.
Could you explain to the other board members?
Yes, all these expenses can be covered with our operational budget, so we're not tapping into anything that we don't have.
Okay, thank you. And the reason, if I could for a minute, Mayor, the reason I brought this up is I've seen, as we did struggle, and things have gotten better with the scheduling and all that, but as we struggled at first, you know, it stayed on my mind about, you know, the problems that we were having with it. And as I drive around, and you guys receive the emails that I do now too, and I think the city, I hate to say it, but I think the city is dirtier since we started this, because I think with the bi-weekly that the piles get left, and we've got one gentleman in the Northwest that is quite persistent in calling and emailing all of us, I believe, about it. But I also see it in my neighborhood too, where people are confused or just don't have the time to wait 2 weeks. They've got today to cut down a tree or whatever, and they put it out there, and it'll sit there for 2 weeks or a week and a half or whatever. So it's spread out, and I'm just trying to look at ways, as you always say, a clean city is a happy city.
City.
You know, however you say it, you know, and that's what I was looking at. And I think if we could do this without going into tapping or raising any fees or anything, then it's something that we should look at again. So that's why I asked, or I brought it up, and it may not be because of me that it's on here tonight, but I know that I've asked about it quite frequently, so thank you.
Mr. Shelley.
Yeah, sorry, he was next.
Okay.
Yeah, I can tell you, with Councilman Burgess, I've done the same thing. I've advocated, because one of the things that we have seen in the Northwest is
the dirtiness of the bulk trash is always out there. It seems like they pick it up and it's placed back out there again as fast as they pick it up. And so the idea of increasing the bulk trash to a weekly basis, and I believe they're going to rotate it so that each neighborhood has the ability to have an early and a late pickup. And the Northwest right now has Thursdays. And so what's happening is you do your yard work on a weekend, and even if it's your bulk trash day, they don't show up till Thursday, and it's caused a real issue, I know, with code, because if code goes out there to enforce it, the residents complain that, well, how am I going to drag all these limbs out, on Wednesday night? I get to get home from work. And so the idea of increasing it on a weekly basis, I think, would definitely help the city. I know that in the Northwest, this is something when we had our neighborhood watch meeting, our neighborhood meeting before the last elections, this was something that every resident raised as an issue. And so I know that this will make the Northwest very happy.
Thank you. Julio, I recall this being talked about in 2008, and I have minutes here, but I can't seem to open it on my iPad. It was a special call meeting. I believe that it was voted on. You don't have that information, August 2008?
I don't have that on me, no.
Okay. Well, for some reason I can't open the attachment, but I did request this from the, here we go, from the clerk today. And when this was brought up, and again, I just want to make sure I'm verifying the right information, but when this was brought up, at that time, I was very much against going to the bi-monthly, as you probably well remember. However, that wasn't the will of the council at that time, and I thought this went into place before 2010. Because
That's what I thought too.
Mr. Shahada was the city manager at that time,
I have to check. Maybe you're correct. I have to check on that.
and it doesn't matter that whether I'm correct or not, but it's just this was taken out a long time ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, you remember that too? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but yeah, that's when I asked you the first question is, I thought this was prior to, I thought this happened back in,
August 2000.
yeah, I remember because it was once a month, and you just told me, no, we was there too. But I'm glad you got the minutes, so I know I was right.
Thank you. So, and again, it doesn't matter to me or whatever, but it's just that what I want people to realize is that it's been going on. And I remember saying then, our city was dirty then, and it was going to get worse and worse. And we had the money then, but they still chose to go back, or not go back, but to reduce and change the scheduling. So I'm very much for it. However, I think it's going to be very confusing. I mean, even now, people can't remember what day their recycle is, what day their trash pickup is, and I actually questioned several people today to see if they would change anything as to if we reverted and we did the once a month for one area to be picked up, or every other week, I believe it would be.
Correct.
Every other week for them to be on a Monday, and then the opposite week being on a Thursday. And they all said the same thing. If I'm going to mow my grass, I'm not going to move the grass 3 times. So I think that this is a matter for code enforcement as well. We have to be very determined and forceful as far as, and I know you can't cover the whole city. We barely can do what we can now with our, with the amount of people we have in code enforcement. But you have to be strong and strict on that. And just going out and writing a warning and then never going back again to see, there has to be some actual citations written one way or the other. People have to start learning that just a little slap on the hand isn't going to do it. And I think the scheduling is going to be a problem. I talked to Julio today, and he said he had checked with several cities, and this was the only alternative that they could think of. We've talked about doing 6 months on a Monday for one side of town and 6 months on a Thursday for the other side of town, but that's not the answer either. So education is the key, and communication is the key. But we have to make sure that we have that police presence in place to make sure that people learn. And I know you have to be very tolerant in the beginning, but I can tell you, I don't think it's going to change. If somebody gets a new washer and dryer, they're going to stick it out on the sidewalk, whether it's a Monday or a Tuesday or a Friday. And that's just how people think. But we have to start being more strict and disciplined and teaching our residents that this community is going to fight back if they don't follow the rules. So I'm all for it. I'm willing to give it a chance with the alternate Mondays and Thursdays, but I think we need to revisit that in maybe a couple of months, just to make sure that people have got the word and that they're complying to the new schedule. So thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to say that.
Yeah, if everyone else is done, I did have one follow-up question. When we went to the biweekly, did we get rid of employees? Is that why we're having to rehire new ones? I mean, because I'm curious why we're having to hire new employees when we were doing this prior.
At the time, we were using a lot of overtime to take care of that, you know, that added work, and also the city has grown from then till now also. So when we did the math, we need the new crews.
Okay, no, I was just curious about that. And then as far as I agree with the Councilwoman Waldman and the code, and one of the reasons that I know from the Northwest that allowing the early and the late was very helpful is before it was hard to enforce code in Northwest because our only day was Thursdays, and so you almost always, we have big yards in the Northwest, we have a lot of trees, we have a lot of bulk trash that we generate, and you do your work on the weekends, and if you're not allowed to put it out the curb until Wednesday night, it becomes very problematic for our residents over there. And if we have a Monday or a Tuesday pickup, then it allows code to be very strict on the weeks that are not our early pickups and really start to issue citations, because there is a solution for those residents to still do their work on the weekends. They just have to plan it according with the Monday pickup, and if they don't, they will get cited, and that will help us hopefully keep the Northwest and the Southwest and other areas clean. So I hope it works out.
Okay. Any final questions? All right, so this was strictly a discussion item, right?
Yeah, so as long as we have, if you're all comfortable, then we'll start doing what we have to and bring back whatever necessary items are required to make this happen.
Follow-up question. In that price amount, I know we're going to have to print out new scheduling and all of that, right? How do we plan on getting the word out? Have you all?
We also included $22,000 a year for education, basically sending out flyers, schedules to people's homes, basically what we're doing now with bi-monthly schedules, something similar to that.
How much you say, 22,000 a year?
And
So
we're going to need
22.
time here anyway. Julio, how much
Correct.
time?
Well, this is to start next fiscal year, so we have all these months to basically work on this now.
So when would proposed start then? It will start when?
If it moves forward, it's to start next fiscal year, at the beginning of next fiscal year.
So October 1st?
Correct, exactly.
Yes, Ms. Fong.
Is that October 1st, 2012? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
Okay.
this year.
Thank you.
Well, it may make sense to start at the beginning of the new year, because then you don't have to
Yeah, because that's not enough time,
All right,
I don't
that's
think,
fine.
to educate.
And that gives us time.
And that gives us a little more time to send some more flyers and all that kind of stuff. All right.
Okay. And Julio, this is money that's definitely in the department already, right?
Correct.
We're not
Correct.
gonna,
Absolutely, yes.
we can be very mindful that we're in the budget cycle now, and $600,000 is nothing to sneeze at, so.
But this is coming out of solid waste, which is...
Solid waste operational budget, yes.
Which every year they usually have fund balance like $2 million left over or something around that.
They help out our budget. Okay, moving forward, with the Committee of the Whole. Committee of the Whole minutes from June 2012. Entertain a motion, thank you. Second. All in favor? Any nays? Item carries. Okay, tab 5, motion to place card number 507 on council agenda. Move it. Local amendment for the national. Okay. Staff?
Mayor, staff recommends the mayor and council approve a tax resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a new interlocal agreement between Cove Communities Is that mine?
Yeah, because you don't have the,
Cobra Reed's name,
You want these little things here?
Cobra Reed's name, NGDES permit, and Miami-Dade County providing professional services for the control of pollutant discharges shared between shared municipal separate storm sewer systems.
Okay, questions from, any comments from council?
Read that again now?
Mine fell off last year, didn't it?
Want to hear that again, or are you okay?
No, I'm okay.
change seats with James.
Took it off first for a minute. There you go. Hello.
Don't eat it.
Okay. We on to the next one?
Okay, any final questions from that? Did we, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Okay, item carries. Okay, motion to place car 528 on council agenda, engineering services for wastewater treatment plant. Pump station, second. Thank you, staff.
Yeah, staff recommends mayor and council approve proposal submitted by Hazen and Sawyer for engineering professional services for the wastewater treatment plant influent pump station project, which will relocate pump station 1 to the wastewater treatment plant site.
Question, can I? Do we, I mean, this, Hayes and Sawyer, do we ever entertain anyone else other than Hayes and Sawyer? I mean, this is like 3 years. Well, my time, 3 years.
Yeah, the reason I recommend Hazen and Sawyer is that they know our plant and they know our city very well. I mean, if we go with somebody else, we're starting from scratch with these things. They've been our engineer for several years now, and they keep up our atlases, our infrastructure, the condition of all our equipment, and also all the planning. They've been involved in the setting of the planning for all these things. So it's more because I feel comfortable with that they know the system better than anybody else does.
How do we know they're competitive? How do you keep that in line? How do you keep that somewhat even?
Well, they're using the pricing that they're using is the pricing that was set by the continuing engineering services agreement, so they haven't changed their prices. So it's the same unit prices that they've gone before.
But if we haven't checked in years, how do we know that that's competitive? That's all I'm saying. Because they're keeping their same unit price doesn't impress me at all. I mean, I don't know what today's going prices are, you know? And you know, this has come up as why. There's a little bit of conversation, if you will. So I need to ask for public.
Mayor, you asked a very good question, because we've grappled with this internally as well, and the problem is with the state law, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
It still applies, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
The problem is that somehow, somewhere in the state, the engineers etched out, price cannot be a determining factor. And so what we've been trying to do with professional services with our procurement department is how do we not run afoul of the law so that we can make sure that we don't get ripped off?
Sure.
And so that's been a real dilemma, and cities have that problem, but as it stands now, that's where we're at. So the determining factor is, are you happy with their services? Can somebody do a better job? Is there a reason why you want to, you know, there's other factors that you can consider, but price is not one of them.
So do we have some type of rating type schedule with them, so we know that they are
Well, we
showing up
definitely,
when they
correct.
show up, responding in a timely manner, doing what they're supposed to be doing?
Absolutely. We do not only rating of the actual services that they provide, but also even, for example, even these proposals, I mean, we study them, you know, to make sure that what they're asking for is within the range that is allowable and that it makes sense. You know, there's I mean, I was a consulting engineer for 20 years before starting here, so I'm familiar with how these proposals are set up and how the monies are calculated, and I can do my own numbers to make sure that they're within the range, yes.
Forget the dollar amount now, because I understand we can't look at that, but they're responsible.
But, no, you
They
can
show
still-
up, they show up on time.
Oh,
they show
absolutely.
up-
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
The other thing, Mayor, I think what you raised is a good point, is we should be on a regular basis looking at our professional services and seeing, you know, how do their services compare to
Stack
others,
up.
and trying to understand, you know, the market conditions and try to get as close to where I think you want to be so that firms don't take advantage of us, because, you know, we're not saying anything bad about this particular firm, but, you know, when you're dealing with technical services where most people don't necessarily understand the cost of those services and how the bills can add up pretty quickly, we should always be looking at how to make sure we get value for our dollar.
Okay. And if we're not basing it on dollar value, then let's make sure we base it on performance, all right? That we do have something in the file that says the performance is good.
Correct, and that's the whole idea, is to make sure that the performance is what we're happy with.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. Any further questions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, on that topic, the professional services or the vendors that are listed, is that always an open process, or can another professional service vendor show up tomorrow and register, or is that something we put out?
Through the manager, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. The city went out for an RFQ, 2007-15 is the RFQ number, where we pre-qualified all these architects and engineering companies. We currently have in the pipe another RFQ that we're going to go out and get additional listing of newer architects and engineers, or some of the existing ones also. We're just waiting to hear back from a couple of departments in terms of upcoming projects for the future. So we make sure that we have all the disciplines and category listed that are going to be required.
Okay, because 2007 was the last time we had an RFQ. Because I do know that there's some local professionals that have wanted to become vendors but have been unable to, and so that is in the pipeline. They will be notified so that...
We're trying within the next 6 months to go out to RFQ for professional services again, or CCNA as it's referred to, and I've been contacted by the local vendors, so we will be notifying them when this is occurring.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. All right, any final questions? All in favor? Aye. Nays? Item carries. Next item is tab 7, is Park and Rec's motion to place car 531 on council agenda, the purchase of a Boom John Deere 6430 four-wheel drive with cab. Okay, motion moved and seconded. Staff report.
Mayor, staff's recommendation, Mayor and Council approve the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase a 2012 Versa Boom John Deere 6430 ROPS four-wheel drive with cab, BQ, transmission tractor. Whatever all that is.
Hey, you put a couple more things in there. I didn't.
Pretty clear, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, Richards Tractor and Implements.
Oh, thank
Purchase
God.
off the stated contract, 11/19/09/07, the same price, terms and conditions, amount of $82,226 plus $17,882 for the cab, transmission upgrade. Other local vendors were contacted and could not provide the required equipment. Total purchase is $100,108.
All right, no questions.
Question?
Yes, Mr. Williams.
This is a large item. How will we be paying for it, out of what account? Because I mean, was this budgeted item for this fiscal year, or?
Councilman Williams, this is going to come out of the impact fees, and this tractor is used for drainage and that. We do have the funds in our account.
Okay. But this was not a budgeted item, that's what I'm asking.
No, sir, and the consequences that we ran into, it's a 94 and the engine blew on us, and the thing is that it's not feasible to go ahead and redo the engine, so we thought, since we had it under our capital improvements to have this purchase, we went ahead and moved it forward since we need this equipment.
How much is left in that account? Because they usually provide a current balance. The same amount that the purchase is the same amount as the current balance in that account. As far as the, you said this is, you're paying for this out of what fund?
Our impact fees.
Impact fees. So how much is left in impact fees?
If I'm correct, $350,000.
Any further questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Nays? Okay, motion carries. Item carries. Tab 9, we're public safety. Oh, no, I'm sorry, discussion. Motion to place car 541 on council agenda, second addendum to management use of the YMCA Greater Miami, YMCA.
Move.
Thank you. Second. Staff.
Mayor, staff recommends the mayor and council approve the attached resolution authorizing city manager to execute the second addendum to the management and use agreement between the city of Homestead and the YMCA of Greater Miami, a Florida not-for-profit. The facilities to be managed, used, and operated by the YMCA shall include the community building, gymnasium, aquatic center, development learning center, preschool, and the wellness center within Harris Field located at 1034 Northeast 8th Street, Homestead, Florida. The term of this agreement shall be for 7 years from the effective date of the second addendum, with the YMCA having 3 5-year renewal terms upon mutual consent of the parties.
Yes, Ms. Wallman.
I just want to make a comment here and say that for years and years, we've struggled with the YMCA contracts. And I want to commend the staff because this was done quite effortlessly and painlessly, I think, because I was amazed myself of all the things that they were able to get the YMCA to agree to, because that has not always been the case. It's always been a problem. So there's quite a few amenities here. If you compare apples to the apples of the contracts in the past, you'll see that, excuse me, that I think we've done quite well. Dennis and I went over it today, and I hope that it's accepted tonight before they change their mind. So that's all I have to say, Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, I concur. I went over it last week with Dennis, and you did a great job, Dennis. I know we worked on it off and on for over a year, back in '09, and I'm happy to see that it's finally at fruition and that we're moving forward, just in the name of quality of life for our community, because it is a great place. It just needs a few amenities. Any other questions?
Yes. Mr. Mayor, same thing. I'd like to commend staff and Mr. Maytan for their hard work on this, because I frequent the Y very often, and so I'm looking forward to these improvements and the beautification of the Y, because it's been neglected for quite some time here in our city. And so based on this contract and the conditions they've agreed to, I think it's going to be a much nicer facility going forward. So thank you guys for your hard work.
Okay, any final questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Nays? Item carries. Okay, tab 9, public safety. Motion to place car 537 on council agenda, Florida Coalition Against Domestic Violence, FCADV grant contract. Second? Thank you. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, staff's recommendation, the mayor and council approve the attached resolution and authorize the city manager to execute the contract agreement with the Florida Coalition Against Domestic Violence in order to fund 1 full-time domestic violence detective, 1 full-time advocate, 1 part-time victim advocate, and the purchase of supplies and training.
Okay. Questions and comments, council?
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Williams.
Question. George, you said to supply what? A full-time...
Basically, the total amount is $147,879, which includes 1 full-time domestic violence detective at $69,972.50, 1 full-time SOS victim advocate at $52,000, and 1 part-time SOS victim advocate for $20,800. Training is for $3,606.50. The office expenses are $15,000.
Have we gotten, is this a new grant, or have we gotten this grant before that has awarded the full-time domestic violence detective? Is this an ongoing grant that we received before?
Councilman, yes, this is about our 15th year dealing with this grant that we've funded detectives and advocates through.
Okay. at this point? Any final questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Nays? Item carries. Tab 10. Motion to place car 538 on council agenda, Children's Trust Youth Violence Grant. Thank you. Second. Staff.
Mayor, staff's recommendation, mayor and council approve the attached contractual agreement and resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Children's Trust in order to provide youth violence intervention services.
Okay. Questions from council? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Item carries. Motion to, any further questions from the manager? City attorney?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I need to request an executive session in the matter of Landstar South Bay Ventures Limited for the limited partnership versus the City of Homestead, case number 12-18117CA 11 in the 11th Circuit Judicial Court, and will be scheduled at some near date to be determined.
You don't want to fix it, you don't have the date now?
I think that you need to check with the council that was there today, because they have some homework to do before they can come back to us.
We just wanted to get the record so that we can properly schedule a meeting. Once we have an estimate of how much time they'll need, we'll call you with some potential dates.
Okay. Any final questions from council? All right. Thank you all very much. All in favor?
Motion.